And now we get back on schedule, I suppose, continuing off from the last video. But in this video, we're going to be talking about my GameCube collection. And right here is my GameCube, which I didn't show off in the game collection video either, because like my Super Nintendo, this was up in a closet as well, so I kind of forgot about it and didn't think to mention it in that video as well. And the reason this one's in the closet, it does work. It's just I have my red Wii over there, and that plays GameCube games as well. And, I didn't see the point in having this hooked up as well, So I just put it up in my closet to keep it from getting dust and to keep it in good condition and stuff. And still in good condition. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, really. I got the silver or platinum one, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I think this is one of the more collectible of the variants of the GameCube. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And actually, I think I got this GameCube with a special bundle, which I'll bring that up when I talk about a certain game, I guess. But as far as other things, we've got this little Game Boy player down here, which I don't have the disc for it, because when you boot this thing up, you put a disc in here to play the game. You put the cartridge in there and then a disc, and that's how it all works, I guess. But the reason I don't have the disc anymore is because I sold it to my friend for like $5 because I never really used this adapter at all. But now that I'm more into retro games, I guess, and collecting and stuff, I probably would use this thing a lot more now, and now I kind of feel bad for selling it to him for $5, and especially since I think those things are pretty expensive to get now or something. I don't know, but I don't know, I'll just have to buy a disc for it again, if I want to play Game Boy Advance games on here. But yeah, overall I'd say it's a pretty good console, and one of the first Nintendo consoles I ever had. And definitely one of my favorites, I guess. And one more accessory before we get into the games, and that's this thing, the Donkey Kong Bongos controller. It's functional with 3 games, Donkey Konga, Donkey Konga 2, and Jungle Beat. I had Donkey Konga 2, but I got rid of it because I didn't really like it all that much. At one point I did, but then I realized, they didn't really play all the songs. They just play like a minute of each song or something. Because I distinctly remember with, the song Headstrong by Trapped. Headsong. But, yeah, that song, it only plays like a minute of that in Donkey Konga 2. And, I realized that after looking up the full version, listening, that, hey, Donkey Konga doesn't play the whole song. Like, what the fuck? So, that was the main reason, because, it wasn't all that great of a rhythm game to begin with, I guess. It's interesting, I suppose. Song selection's very diverse. You got pop songs, you got more classical songs like the Nutcracker, and you got some rock songs like, Headstrong by Trapped, and you had some other sort of songs like Mr. Bombastic was on there as well. But yeah, I guess it's an alright rhythm game from what I remember, but it doesn't play the whole songs, which is doesn't really cut it for me, man. It's like one of the, deal breakers for me with rhythm games. If I'm gonna play a rhythm game, you better have the whole freaking song, And, Jungle Beat, we'll get to that when we get to that. That'll be fairly shortly, but yeah, and Jungle Beat, is pretty much the only reason I still have this thing. It's kinda, my main excuse for still having this thing around, because, I'd like an excuse to keep this controller, because it's actually pretty cool. And, yeah, it's just, pretty cool sort of accessory. Now we get into my games, and starting us off is Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. And, one thing I should mention with all my, pretty much most of my GameCube games is that I don't have the disc in the cases. They're all in a little, carrying case sort of thing, because I don't own a lot, and, I don't know, I just put them in a carrying case, in case I go to a friend's house or something. But, yeah, I only own the disc for this one, and it comes in a stupid GameStop case. But, yeah, like I just mentioned, this was pretty much my main reason for keeping the Donkey Kong Bongos. And what do I think of this game? It's alright, it's definitely an interesting little 2.5D platformer. I've never beaten it, though. I think I've gotten about halfway or something like that. I definitely have to go back and actually try and beat it, But yeah, I guess it's probably one of the best games that actually utilizes the bongos, Not exactly as for they were intended, I guess, but it's a lot better than Donkey Konga games because they seem to be like okay rhythm games. But yeah, if you have the Donkey Kong bongos or plan to get them and need a game with them, you should definitely try and get this game. Next up is Dragon Ball Z Sagas, and this one I have the manual as well. In the case it's also in good condition, but I loved Dragon Ball Z as a kid, so it's kind of obvious I'd have a Dragon Ball Z game. I think this is like my first Dragon Ball Z game, and as a first game and as a Dragon Ball Z game in general, it's not bad. It's kind of a beat 'em up sort of game, I guess, or an action adventure or something like that. I don't know. You go to like different areas and then you fight a bunch of enemies and progress, and then I think with either every stage or certain stages there's like a boss battle at the end. So, you fight a boss and then you win. And it's not the best sort of game. It's probably like a 6 out of 10 or something. It's above average, but yeah, this is one of many Dragon Ball Z games you'll see that I own once we get into other parts of my collections. As you probably remember, I had another one on Game Boy Advance, Legacy of Goku 2. This is yet another one, but there's even more where this came from, as I was a big Dragon Ball Z fan as a kid. And one more interesting thing about this game is that the co-op in this game is actually pretty interesting. In terms of the beat 'em up, just regular levels and stuff, it's pretty fair. One person plays one character, the other one plays another character, and you both fight enemies and stuff. But what's interesting about it in this game is that with boss fights, because with particularly the one where you fight Cell, that's the boss fight my friend and I were playing. You can only play as the one character, because otherwise, if there are other characters, it kind of conflicts with the story, because this was kind of, trying to be accurate to the story. It's not something like Raging Blast or whatever that has, like, hypothetical situations or anything like that. So you can only play as the one character in the story, but in co-op, it's sort of on a timer. So player 1 gets to, fight Cell for like 2 minutes or something, and then the timer goes off, and then player 2 picks up the controls and has to fight as well, and just swaps back and forth until Cell is eventually dead. And that's really interesting, because I've never seen anything like that in this game, as probably in any other game, you probably couldn't play that boss fight 2-player, but in that one it found a way to, sort of make it 2-player, so that's a really interesting aspect to this game. And overall, it's a fairly decent Dragon Ball Z licensed game, and fairly decent beat-em-up game, and it's not that bad of a co-op game, so maybe you should check it out, even if you're not exactly a fan of Dragon Ball Z, maybe. Next we have FZero GX. I only own the disc for this one as well. I got this from GameStop, obviously. This was one of the last GameCube games I got from GameStop before they stopped selling them in stores, but now I'm pretty sure they sell them again. But an interesting story for this one. I originally bought this game to do a Let's Play of it. Like, that's the main reason why I own this game, because I'm not really a huge racing fan. And one thing I knew about this game when buying it is that supposedly this was a really freaking hard racing game, like probably one of the hardest racing games ever made. And that's the main reason why I got it, because I figured it'd be good Let's Play material, because I kind of suck at racing games, and this one's super hard, and it'd just be me basically raging and messing up and shit like that. So I figured it'd be entertaining Let's Play. But sadly I never got to finish that Let's Play, because I never got to finish this Let's Play and another Let's Play I was doing, because my laptop kind of crapped out and I lost all my footage, and I just never went back and redid it or anything. And part of the reason why is because I just kind of lost interest in doing Let's Plays in general, so I didn't really feel like doing Let's Plays of these games again. And yeah, I might do like a special sort of Let's Play type of video for this and the other one, just to kind of complete them out, you know. But I mean, in general, I don't really plan on doing Let's Plays at all. It's just not my thing, really. But yeah, even though this is really a really hard racing game, I still kind of like it. One of these days I'll get back to it, but at the point I was at in the story, I got kind of stuck. You know, it was just really difficult for me. But maybe I could try replaying it now and it'd be a little bit easier. So we'll see on that. But yeah, it's definitely a good racing game. You should definitely check it out. Especially if you're, you know, a big F-Zero fan, which you are. You probably have already. Next up we have Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This is one of the few games that I actually have the disc in it, and I also have the manual as well, but, you know, this isn't in the special carrying case that I have for most of my games, but I got this game for $2 at a local Habitat for Humanity store, which, if you're not really familiar with what that is, it's pretty much like a Goodwill. You know, it's very similar to that sort of store. But I've never really watched the Lord of the Rings movies. Unfortunately, you know, I don't know, I just never really got around to watching them. Maybe one of these days I will, but yeah, so I'm not really familiar with the Lord of the Rings stuff. There was one time in class, way back in early on in high school, I think 9th grade or something, the class started to play the first Lord of the Rings movies, but we were only like 5 minutes in, and most of the people were kind of bored with it, and then they just changed it to something else. It's kind of funny, I guess. It's Lord of the Rings, supposed to be like some of the best movies ever made, and people just got bored with it in like the first 5 minutes. But yeah, I just got this game because it was really cheap. It was in fairly decent condition. You know, there's some dirt type of shit on the front and stuff, and I think there's like scratches on the back and stuff, but you know, it's got the disc, got the manual and the case, and it's all in very decent condition. And I think this is an alright licensed game too. I think it's decent as well, so that's another reason why I got it. And yeah, I guess either when I actually look at the Lord of the Rings movies or before then, I'll check this game out. This is one of the first GameCube games I ever owned, and that's Luigis Mansion. This is player choice version. There's also some stupid sticker residue on the front, and there's like a sticker on the back. And you can see the pen marking there. The reason I did that, I guess, was to try and get the sticker off, but it didn't really work. And, you know, thinking about back on that now, it's probably not a smart idea to do that, because you probably mess up the art insert doing that type of crap. But, yeah, sadly, I don't have the manual for this either. It might not have come with the game when I got it. Either that or I lost it. I'm not really sure which. But, yeah, I really like Luigis Mansion. This is one of those games I was kind of wanting them to make a sequel to for a long time, and they finally did on 3DS with Dark Moon. And I'll definitely want to check out that game, you know, when I get a 3DS and stuff. But yeah, it's a really fun sort of Ghostbusters-esque type of game. And if you haven't checked it out, you really should, because this is a really good solo game for Luigi. Next up, we kind of have a twofer here, and that's Mario Party 5 and Mario Party 6. Mario Party 5 is like the first Mario Party game I ever owned. It's also one of the more early GameCube games I owned. And let me open this up. It's also got all the manuals and stuff in there. I'm not going to dig them out though. But yeah, this is basically my first introduction to Mario Party, and it's a lot of fun. Really enjoy this. I played this a lot with friends, and I think I might have taken this with me to... No, I don't think it's this with me at daycare at some point, because my name's not written on it, so that would imply that I didn't take it with me anywhere. That's what my mom did to make sure no one took my games, or if I lost them, they'd return them to me, you know, that sort of kid stuff. Yeah, not a whole lot I could really say. It's just a really fun party game. And Mario Party 6 I got recently. This has some manuals as well. And I got this at a flea market type of place for fairly cheap. I want to say like $6 maybe? I'm not sure. I didn't pay a lot for this either way. But I haven't really played a lot. I played like a little teeny tiny bit. You know, just a small bit. And it's got this whole Nate, what the hell? night and day cycle. I swear sometimes I can't talk. It's got this whole night and day cycle thing to it, and I suppose I forgot to mention that with Mario Party. Mario Party 5 has this sort of dream theme to it, and like every place is a different dream or something. Like you got a place that's made out of cake that's called Sweet Dream, and I think there's another one that's with toys and it's called like Toy Dream or something. You know, it's just, that's got that sort of theme to it. And this one has like, I think, different levels, but you can play them at different times of the day. Like, you know, one during the daytime, or you could play during the night and stuff like that. And apparently it changes up the board or something like that. I don't really know. Again, I haven't played this one a whole lot, but I really like to, you know, because I like the Mario Party games. You know, they seem to be a lot of fun, especially with friends. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about this game, Mario Party 6, Mario Party 5. Awesome multiplayer games. And next is probably my favorite GameCube game, and that's Metroid Prime. This is the version that comes with the Metroid Prime Echoes bonus disc, which is a demo of Metroid Prime Echoes, and I actually have the disc in this case as well as all the manuals and stuff. And there's a specific reason why I put these back in the case, which I'll get to in just a second. But yeah, this was the first GameCube game I ever owned, and I actually got it with my GameCube. It was bundled in, I think, which brings me back to what I kind of alluded to with getting the GameCube in a special bundle, and that's because I'm not 100% sure, but I feel fairly certain, because this is the only bundle that came with this and that silver GameCube game. GameCube system, what the fuck? But I'm pretty sure this is like the Metroid of, I don't know what it's called, but it's like some sort of bundle that's like Metroid themed, and it comes with the silver GameCube, and it comes with this specific version of the game, and it also comes in this really neat box that's got like a Metroid sort of thing on it. But the reason I don't really know for sure is because I don't own the box anymore, which fucking sucks, because that also kind of, you know, puts into question if this is like the legitimate bundle or not, because you know, I'd have to get that box at some point, so I can definitely consider this like a legit bundle, because, you know, if this is considered a legit bundle, this plus my GameCube and I suppose the box, it's all worth like $100, and that's pretty freaking incredible to me. You know, it's probably one of the most expensive bundles that I own. You know, probably makes this one the more expensive games that I own just for that specific reason. And yeah, as for the game itself, it's a lot of fun. First-person shooter. Metroid Prime 2 demo is pretty interesting. You know, it's definitely pretty different from the final game. It's got you go to areas you don't in the beginning that you do in this one, and you also have access to the light and dark beams right away, so that's pretty interesting. And I don't think you run out of ammo with those things in demo. I'm not really sure, but yeah, interesting little demo, and this game's pretty freaking awesome. A must-own on the GameCube or the Wii, you know, if you get the trilogy, which, you know, is probably a lot better than this one, because it's got the Wii controls, which are, you know, much superior with shooting and stuff. But yeah, classic on the GameCube, and possibly one of my favorite games ever. Next we have the sequel, which is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, and I have the manual for this one as well. And I just recently got the case and manual for this game, because originally I only had the disc for this game, but I found this fairly close to me in the pawn shop for like, actually I got this and another game for like $2.50 each, so $5 in total, so that's definitely a good deal. So yeah, now I own the case and manual to this game, which, you know, makes me really happy, because, you know, that's one less sort of dud in my collection. It's kind of what I refer to these sort of GameStop pre-owned cases, you know, as duds, because they don't really look all that good and they stand out, you know, they're not the original cases and stuff. So yeah, I'd like to get rid of those as much as I can so my collection looks a little bit better, you know. But Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, I really dig it as well. Don't really know if I like it over Prime 1, but it's definitely a lot of fun in my opinion. I know a lot of people harp on this game like it's not really all that good or something, but I don't know, I really liked it. You know, it's Metroid Prime. It's got the same sort of gameplay and stuff, and it's very interesting, and I really like it. And yeah, this case is pretty cool because it's holographic and shit, you know, it's just reflects light off of it and stuff. Yeah, if you dig Metroid Prime series, you should check out Metroid Prime 2. Up next is Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. This one I have the manual for as well. And this is the only Mortal Kombat game I own currently, and this is pretty much the first Mortal Kombat game I've played, if memory serves me right. But what do I think about this one? I mean, the thing that really just kind of turns me off with this one is that for some reason you can't use the joystick. You can only use the D-pad, which I think is so stupid because this isn't even like 2D. You know, this is the first 3D Mortal Kombat game. They have you using the D-pad. Like, what? Why? I mean, I guess it works for the most part because in 3D games you pretty much just go front and back, and then up and down would be to like move from side to side. So theoretically you could use the D-pad in that situation, but I don't know. It's just, I think it'd be a lot better to be able to use the analog stick, But yeah, that's one reason it kind of turns me off from this game, and plus, I don't know about the fighting and stuff, I can't really pull off, finishers and stuff like that. Well, I guess I'd have to, learn and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think it's a bad game. I haven't played a lot to really, say if it's good or not. But I think another problem is just the only fighting games I'm really used to are like Soul Calibur, and this one feels quite different from Soul Calibur, so it's just something I had to get used to. And yeah, eventually I'll play more of this, and hopefully it'll get me into Mortal Kombat. We have yet another Namco collection game, and that's Namco Museum on GameCube. This is the player's choice version, and I also have the manual and stuff. Pretty much have a manual for all my GameCube games, but I digress. And this game has Miss Pac-Man, Dig Dug arrangement, Galaga arrangement, Pac-Man arrangement, Pac-Man, Pole Position 2, and Pole Position 1. And maybe a few others, I don't really know, but yeah. It's not a bad little collection of Namco games, I guess. It's fairly similar to the Namco Museum on PlayStation 1, I guess. Although I think I played this one a lot more than the one on PlayStation 1. I have more memories with this one than that one. And yeah, there's probably a whole lot better collections out there than this one at this point. But, if you had to start somewhere, I guess it isn't a bad collection to pick up. So, yeah, I mean, if you have a GameCube and you want to play some Namco games, you could get this, I guess. NASCAR Thunder 2003. A game I don't own the manual to, so that kind of sucks, I guess. But I'm not really a big NASCAR fan. I think this is the only NASCAR game I own. But the reason I have this is because I got it for free in like this what's it called? It's sort of like a gift basket sort of thing. It's something I got from kindergarten. Like I don't know, something. You do something like be good or something, have good behavior, and then you can like get some sort of prize from like this little basket or something. And usually it's like a bunch of random crap people donated. And this was one of the things that I got. And I mean, I played a little bit, and it's an alright racing game, I guess. I don't know, it's just not really my thing. Racing games generally aren't. But yeah, it's just something I probably had to maybe trial out a little more. But yeah, I got it for free, so regardless, I suppose it's a pretty good deal on this thing, and not a bad free game, I suppose. And yeah, if you're into NASCAR, maybe you want to check out NASCAR 2003. This is a double feature of a game, and that's PacMan World 2 and PacMan Versus. This is the player's choice version, and we've got the manual as well as the discs in here for PacMan World 2 and PacMan Versus. I've played PacMan World 2. I haven't played the first one, but I've played PacMan World 2, and I gotta say, it's not that bad of a platformer. Probably not one of the best platformers I ever played. I don't know, I just didn't really, strike that sort of chord with me. I didn't like fall completely in love with it. But it's, you know, it's definitely fun. It's really interesting. It's got some interesting mechanics to it and some interesting aspects. Like, you know, there's certain sections and levels that kind of play like traditional Pac-Man games, where you run around the maze and eat all the dots and try to avoid ghosts and stuff, and it's pretty cool. And for the most part, it's like your sort of typical 3D platformer game, but with a few twists to it, like Pac-Man can roll into people and bounce and some other things like that. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about PacMan World 2. I'd like to play PacMan World 1 at some point, but not a bad little 3D platformer, but probably not one of my favorites. And Pac-Man Versus, I still have yet to play, mainly because this is sort of like a multiplayer game, and you know, I don't really see the point in playing it by myself. And not only that, but this is definitely a game that you need to play on the GameCube, because you know, you need to have a Game Boy Advance or SP hooked up to it at the same time, which is something you just can't do on the Wii. So yeah, just that game alone will probably make this sort of version of Pac-Man probably more collectible, because that's like something that could pretty much only work on the GameCube. Although I suppose with the Switch now, they could probably maybe port this on over, because, you know, reading on the back of the box, this was designed by Shigeru Miyamoto, so this is in some way sort of a Nintendo property, this game. So I mean, you know, I don't see why they couldn't, you know. Technically they could have done it with the Wii U, but they just never did. I don't know why, but I guess I never thought of it, which I can't really blame them, because, you know, they probably don't, a lot of people probably don't even really remember this Pac-Man game. You know, it's fairly obscure as Pac-Man games go. But yeah, when I eventually hook my GameCube back up and have friends over, I'll definitely check this game out. Prince of Persia, Warrior Within. Another game I only own the disc to. This is also one of the last GameCube games I got from GameStop way back in the day, before they stopped selling them or taking them in, you know. And honestly, I haven't touched it at all, so I don't really have a lot to say about this game, but yeah, I definitely like to get more of the Prince of Persia games, you know, especially the original trilogy, so I can play this game and, you know, and enjoy this Prince of Persia series, which is supposedly really good, and sort of influenced the Assassin's Creed series. So yeah, I'll definitely check this game out at some point. Robots. Very interesting sort of licensed game, I guess. You know, they did the best with the concept that they could have, I think. You know, it's definitely like a 6 out of 10. Yeah, it could have been a good platforming game, but I think what held it back was A, the fact that it was a licensed movie, so they probably didn't have a whole lot of time to really flesh it out as good as they probably could have. And second, it was also a kids game, so it was made with kids in mind, so, you know, that's kind of why this game is probably really easy, you know, because it was made for kids and it couldn't be too difficult for kids. So I think those aspects kind of held it back from how good it really could have been, in my opinion. But regardless, I still kind of enjoy this. And the main reason I own this, I guess, is because I saw the Robots movie as a kid, and I guess I liked it enough to want a game of it. And yeah, I own the game to it, and, you know, you got the manual as well as sort of a advertisement thing that apparently had a coupon for the DVD or something, which I never used, so oh well. But whatever. Yeah, overall not a bad licensed game, a decent 3D platformer sort of game, and yeah, maybe you should consider checking it out if you're into the Robots movie or 3D platformers. This next one is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, but it's Shadow the Hedgehog. So let me open this up. Yeah, I got the manual as well for this one, but yeah, it's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I really loved this game as a kid, and honestly, I really loved the concept of this game as a kid, and I really wanted it, and it's the main reason why I own this now, because, funny story about this game, I wanted this for Christmas, but I didn't get it for Christmas for some reason. Instead I got like another game on PS2, which we'll get into that one when we get to that, but and that's kind of part of the reason why I didn't I thought I didn't get this game because, you know, back when I believed in Santa, I thought Santa confused the two games or something, you know, confused, because they both started with S's, you know. It'll all make better sense when I eventually get to that game, but yeah, I don't know, in my kid brain kind of had to where, you know, I guess Santa, you know, mixed up the games by accident or something. So, with the money I got from Christmas, which is about $50 or something, I bought a brand new copy of this game. So this is still the brand new copy I bought way back in the day at Best Buy, $50. And how do I think about it today? Well, don't like it as much as I did back then. But even then, you know, I didn't really think it was the best game ever. You know, I still kind of thought it was like a 6 out of 10. You know, but especially watching other people's videos, like the one in particular that really kind of showed me to, like, you know, how not good this game really is Yomar's. You should, if you haven't heard of him, you should really check him out. It's a pretty good channel and deserves more subscribers. But yeah, his video kind of really showed me how not that great this game is. In particular, like, the storyline doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, you know, the different levels you jump to and stuff, because it's supposed to be like branching paths and stuff depending on actions you take in this game, and all these just doesn't really line up to where the story should be going, you know. You just kind of bounce from one scene to the next. But I mean, I guess on the flip side, it kind of gives this game a lot of replayability, because there are countless different paths you can take. There's like probably like close to, I don't know, 500 or something. There's like a ridiculous amount that you can just like take, and yeah, it's a very interesting little game here. But definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. I kind of dig the whole violence and guns and swearing of it back then. You know, it's definitely a sort of mature game for me back when I was a kid, because I didn't really get mature games back then. So yeah, it's also kind of make me fall in love with Shadow as a character. It's kind of shallow, I guess, just that he's so he's like really dark and brooding and badass and shit, but whatever. Overall, it's an alright sort of Sonic type of game, you know. Maybe check it out if you want a good laugh or something. Shark Tale, another licensed game that I owned. I watched Shark Tale back in the day as a kid, and I guess I liked it again to, you know, get a game of it. And we have the manual for this one as well. And this is also another interesting sort of licensed game. It's got a bunch of gameplay variety to it. You got these sort of 2D sort of sections where you swim around and you sort of, well, in the first level, it's you cleaning up graffiti and stuff, so you're just kind of wandering around the map, and you go to the graffiti spots and you clean them up, and that's pretty much all that. But then there's also sections where you're like being chased, you know, you gotta dodge out of the way and, you know, avoid being eaten and shit like that. There's also rhythm-based sections where you dance, and, you know, you gotta press the right button prompt at the correct time to, you know, pull off the dance moves. And there's also sections where you race. You're kind of like on a taxi fish sort of thing, and you're just like racing along and stuff. And yeah, it's overall a really interesting sort of licensed game. It's kind of unique, but it's not really all that great. Probably give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5, you know. It's very decent, you know. But yeah, I guess if you like Shark Tale, you could maybe check this game out. And following up from my Game Boy Advance video, I guess, is Shrek II on GameCube. And I have the manual for this one, and yeah. Shrek II is apparently so nice I had to own it twice on my game consoles. But yeah, even way before Shrek became a meme and all that stuff, I really liked Shrek as a kid, and that's why I own a bunch of Shrek games, you know. I also own a bunch of Shrek toys, which are in a bin somewhere in my room. But yeah, not only do I own it on Game Boy Advance, but I own it on GameCube. And as for this version, I'd say it's a lot better than the Game Boy version, because, you know, it's in 3D. It's more of a co-op game. You can have 4-player co-op in this game, and you know, it's sort of like an action adventure sort of game, I guess. You know, you run around, you solve some puzzles, you might fight some enemies and shit like that to progress through the level and the shit. And there's also like side missions you can do, like and far away when you get there, there's like all these different missions you can do, which you don't have to do all of them. You just have to do like a certain number of them. And these sort of things involve like stopping a jewel heist, helping this guy corral his chickens and stuff for like some chicken restaurant or something, and some other stuff like that. Oh, like Shrek has a specific section where he throws people into jail, which that one's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's a pretty decent co-op game, pretty decent licensed game. Yeah, definitely recommend you maybe check this one out if you like Shrek and you're looking for, you know, a decent co-op game for GameCube or PS2 or whatever system you're playing on. Next up is another Sonic game, and that's Sonic Heroes. I believe this was the first Sonic game I ever owned, so that's a pretty cool aspect in and of itself. And I also have the manual for this one too. But yeah, it's an alright sort of Sonic game, I guess. It's definitely got a bunch of replayability to it because you play as all the different teams and stuff, and they all have their own campaigns and stuff. And as far as favorites go, I don't really know. I don't think I really have a favorite campaign per se. They're all pretty okay, I guess, from what I played as a kid. If I played them recently, you know, I probably have more favorite ones, but you know, overall, I'd say this is better than Shadow the Hedgehog, you know, at least by a little bit, you know, maybe not drastically, but yeah, I think it's the best. It's the better of the two. And also, I think the Nintendo GameCube version is apparently the best version of this game, because I think the other ones have bad frame rate problems and shit like that, but this one's pretty solid apparently. So yeah, if you're looking to get Sonic Heroes, you should probably consider getting it on Nintendo GameCube. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting little Sonic game. It's one of the only ones where you play as the whole team and stuff. And yeah, if you're into Sonic, you should probably check this game out. Soul Calibur 2. Sadly, only own the disc to this game. It's another GameStop game I got. And yeah, my first introduction to Soul Calibur, and I gotta say, this game's pretty freaking awesome. I love the Soul Calibur games because of this game. And I now own a couple more of the Soul Calibur games, but yeah, this version is pretty cool because you have Link as a playable character, and you know, that kind of makes this a must-own. And which is, I'd really like to get this complete, you know, because it's probably a pretty special and valuable game. But yeah, not a whole lot I could really say other than that. You know, if you played Soul Calibur games, they're pretty solid fighting games. You know, it's basically like Tekken, but every character has a weapon and they use their weapon to fight instead of like fists. You know, they might kick at certain points and they'll grab, but they won't like punch you for the most part. The only character that really in the whole Soul Calibur universe, I think, that like just uses their fist is Hayachi from Tekken, who's also a guest character in Soul Calibur 2, but the PlayStation 2 version, because Link's a guest character in GameCube and Spawn's the guest character in the original Xbox version, which is another version I'd really like to have. But yeah, Soul Calibur is a really fun fighting game series. If you've never played it, you really should get into it. I highly recommend it. Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Technically, this is the fourth game in the series, but unlike the other three games, this one isn't really all that good. I have the manual for it as well, but the game itself, it's decent. You know, it's a decent sort of Spyro type of game, like 2 and 3, but it kind of falls short because it's really a buggy mess, and the actual game itself isn't quite all that fun and enjoyable as the original ones. So yeah, this game would have a little higher personal score for me, but since it's broken, I kind of have to knock it down a notch, because you could literally, like, if you glitch this game out, you can glitch this game out really bad to where you can just literally go to the final boss and beat this game without ever really playing the game. So yeah, that's just too big of a issue for me to ignore, you know, so I had to really knock it down a bit. But yeah, if you like Spyro games, this is decent, but probably don't really recommend you check this one out. You should definitely play the original games. Starfox Adventures. Yet another game I only own a disc for. This is the last of them, I think. But, yeah, this was the other game that I started a Let's Play for back in the day that never got to finish because I lost all my footage on my laptop. But, yeah, and the main reason I couldn't start this one back was because I essentially had to replay the whole game over again because I didn't get to upload all the footage I had on Starfox Adventures because I'd recorded some that I was gonna, upload later and stuff because I was uploading this stuff like on a weekly basis. But then I lost all my footage and I didn't really know where I had stopped off and stuff, and I couldn't really restart from a previous checkpoint or anything because I'd already saved over the little section I did, and I didn't really want to replay the game again because I already replayed it for the third time or something, just doing the whole Let's Play series. But then sometime after that I kind of fell out of doing Let's Plays and stuff like that, so that's another reason why I haven't continued to Let's Play this or FZero GX. But yeah, as for the game itself, I really like it. I'd personally argue it's kind of like a 7 out of 10. It's a solid, good game. I don't really think you could argue that this is a great game or anything like that, like an 8 out of 10 or anything. I think it's no higher than a 7 out of 10 for me. But it's at the very least 5 out of 10 or something. It's like an average sort of Zelda type of game, which that's the main criticism a lot of people have of this game. It's oh, it's just a Zelda clone and shit like that. But well, for one thing, when I was playing this game myself, I didn't really compare it all that much to Zelda, but looking back, okay, yeah, there are a couple things that make it similar to Zelda, like the fact that you kind of auto-jump when you run off of cliffs and stuff, and the fact that you do an animation when you open up a treasure chest every time you get an item or something like that. And its general gameplay is sort of similar to Legend of Zelda, like that stuff, and yeah, I guess it's just a lot similar to Zelda than I kind of, noticed when first playing on my initial full playthrough. But, I mean, regardless, I still liked it, and to be honest with you, I'm not really that big of a fan of Zelda anyways. I mean, I've only played, one game, but even then, which was Twilight Princess, but even then, I wasn't really blown away by Zelda. But apparently, again, for other people, apparently Twilight Princess isn't one of the best Zelda games out there. But, whatever. I mean, I guess I'd have to play more of the Zelda games to really get a feel for them or something. But, yeah, this is one of Rare's last games that they made before Microsoft bought them. And, overall, I think it's not that bad of a game, even though it was supposed to be another game, and, got changed sort of at the last minute and they had to rework everything. But yeah, I definitely recommend you check this out if you're a Star Fox fan. Just don't go into this expecting a more traditional Star Fox game like Star Fox 64 or even Star Fox Assault. If you go into this game for what it is, sort of like a Zelda type of game, you'll probably have a good time like I did. And yeah, you should maybe check it out. This is another favorite on the GameCube, and one of the earliest GameCube games I owned, and that's Super Smash Brothers Melee! That was my best announcer impersonation, I guess. But, yeah, this is player's choice. Comes with the manuals and stuff as well. No shock there. Yeah, this is the first... Well, okay, I played the original Smash Brothers at daycare. But I'm not really sure if I played it before this one or after. I think I played it before I ever got this one, and that's the main reason why I wanted this one, because I know that I like the Smash Brothers games. And yeah, I'd definitely say this is a lot better than the original, and it's apparently fairly popular on the competitive scene. It's the favorite among competitive Smash players for some reason or another. And, yeah, I really love this game, but then Brawl kind of came along, and I kind of liked that one a lot better. And now I played Smash 4 on Wii U, and that's my favorite one at the moment. You know, it's just, I think for most people, it's kind of how it works with these games. You know, the next one's pretty much overall better than the last. But yeah, even so, it's just still really fun Smash Brothers game. I have a lot of fond memories with it. I've unlocked every character in this game. I even have Mewtwo and who's that other? There's like another character that's really hard to get or something. But you know, I definitely have Mewtwo in this game, and I guess Roy and Marth were other ones. They're kind of hard to get. I don't know, but yeah, it's really fun. Fighting game. If you've never played Smash Bros. Melee, you should probably check it out. It's one of the best in the series, I guess. Attack 2, Staff of Dreams. This one I also have the manual for and everything. But yeah, finally got a attack game on console apparently. If you'll recall from my Game Boy Advance video, I had Attack 1 on Game Boy Advance, and you know, I'd played the first TAC game on console and I really liked it, and yeah, that's a good reason why I own TAC 2, because I know I liked TAC 1 and I really wanted a TAC game, so I just got TAC 2. And you know, this one's a lot of fun. It's probably a lot better than the original. You know, I've only played a small bit of the original, and I've played this one all the way through, and but I'd still probably say this one's a lot better. Probably better controls, maybe better style to it, better levels, I don't know. You know, it's definitely very interesting. It's got this whole sort of dream aspect. You kind of bounce between the real world and the sort of dreamlike world, and yeah, you get the Staff of Dreams at one point, and it gives you all sorts of powers and shit, and yeah, this is a really cool sort of 3D platformer sort of game, and you should really check it out, and maybe some of the other tag games in the series, because you know, it's definitely not that bad of a platforming series. And finally, we have Fairly Odd Parents, Breaking the Rules, and I have the manual for this one as well. So yeah, and well, I liked Fairly Odd Parents as a kid. I think that'd be fairly obvious. Definitely a favorite cartoon of mine growing up. And so naturally I kind of had to own a game of it, and I replayed this sort of recently, like a few years back. I beat it in like a day or 3, I mean 2 or 3 days, my bad. So yeah, this game isn't really all that long, and not only that, but it's not all that hard. You know, it's a fairly easy game for the most part, you know, but it's definitely interesting. It takes you through different sort of episodes, I guess. You know, you've got levels where you're the fuck, I forgot what his name was, but you're the sidekick of the Crimson Chin. I think it's Cleft, the boy Chin Wonder. That's what it is. Yeah, you got levels where you play as Cleft, the superhero sidekick to the Crimson Chin, and then you've also got levels where you're fighting aliens in your Crash Nebula sort of costume, and then you've got one where you're in this sort of filth-ridden place, and you got this sort of special suit that you wear, and yeah, there's a bunch of different levels like that. The video game level in this one's actually kind of cool too, because it's sort of like a Tron sort of video game level. You got like a hand cannon, you know, so like, I guess it's also like Mega Man, you know, and you can run around and shoot people with it, and it's definitely a bunch of, yeah, it's an interesting little video game sort of themed level. But yeah, overall I'd say this is a very interesting sort of Fairly Odd Parents game. It's an interesting little sort of 3D platformer adventure game type of game. But it's definitely not all that great. It's not one of the best ever made, and you know, it's very decent. I'd only recommend this. Check this out if you're really a big Fairly Odd Parents fan, I guess, because it's, you know, it's very interesting. It's very, you know, it portrays the show pretty well, in my opinion, you know. But yeah, Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules. If you're a big Fairly Odd Parents fan, maybe you should check this game out. Whew. Well, that's all my GameCube games. I hope you all enjoyed this video as always, and please stay tuned because, like I've been saying, there's still more to come. We still have a few collection videos to do. We're probably about halfway there, so please bear with me. But until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.